We did it. We've teamed up, and together we've created something special. We are the Idaho Underground Sports Network, and we're changing the game. We're covering Idaho high school sports in a way that you haven't seen before. Together, we'll be providing weekly breakdowns and recaps while helping uncover Idaho's top talents at a deeper level. Trust us, you want to be part of this. Boise Sports Talk, EBC Media, and the Game Time Guru bring you Gym Session. Let's get to work. What's going on, everybody? Welcome out to another episode of Gym Session here on the Idaho Underground Sports Network. I am Shane Larson, also known as the Game Time Guru, alongside Ty Spangenberg from Boise Sports Talk. He's representing the Utah Jazz. He's going to be heading down to a game, but I don't think he's. Are you going to be? Are you going to be cheering for the Jazz, Ty? Or are you going to be cheering for the Warriors?
You know, I got to go Jazz. I'm rocking a Spider Mitchell jersey. Let's go.
Okay, I can respect that. I'm a lifelong Jazz fan, I should say. So I gotta love the Jazz. Now we got AJ representing EBC Media over here. AJ, what's going on, man?
Good, go Warriors.
Okay, simple as that. Fair enough, guys. We just want to make sure you guys are subscribed to this channel. Okay, so YouTube, we continue to grow, and we appreciate all the support so far. So thank you guys for subscribing. Those who have commented, and those who have shared, but we just ask that you continue to do so. If you guys like the content, share it. It's a very simple way of showing your support. Hit the subscribe button, share the content with your friends and family, and let them know that we're here because we're providing the high school sports breakdown for you guys that you guys haven't seen before in this format. So please do that. And make sure you're following us on Instagram. We're almost to 7,000 followers, guys. That's actually a really cool accomplishment for us. When we started this thing back in August, we had some predictions of what it might happen. We didn't really know. We had an idea of how successful it could be. But I mean, I think due to the support of all the people out there, it's blown our predictions out of the water. So thank you guys so much for the support thus far. But if you haven't done so already, go follow us on Instagram at Idaho Underground Sports. We're on all platforms, guys. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Twitter, we're almost to 1,000. So I'd love for you guys to help us out there too. If you are not already following us on Twitter, go do so. We want to get that. We're going to be providing coverage throughout the state tournaments on all the platforms. So Instagram and Twitter specifically. So we want to get to 1,000 followers there. Make sure to go follow us at ID Underground SN. And the last thing for the housekeeping items, you guys, you know we're about the merch. Go to iusnflames.com. Cop your merch there. If you want some Idaho Underground Sports hoodies or shirts, we have our own gear ourselves, like our own entities for Boise Sports Talk, EBC, GTG, Cherry Films. I mean, we got a ton of acronyms, but like Cherry's got his own stuff too in there. I believe, is Meyer on there as well? I can't remember, but
not yet. We'll get him on there though.
We might have him on there, but we've got, and if you don't have Meyer gear either and you want to go talk to Meyer, he's got ways to get that for you at the current time too. So we've got an opportunity, but if you guys want stuff from us, iusnflames.com, that also helps us and helps support us going on with our journey. And if you want to work with us together, we're down for sponsorships. We want to give a shout out to those who have worked with us directly, especially D1 Training. Shout out to D1 Training out of Boise for being one of our sponsors of the Player of the Week throughout this whole entire season. They've been awesome, very supportive of us from the very beginning. And if you guys want an opportunity just like that, just hit us up. We're happy to help and work with people just like you guys. All right. So now we're going to be talking some basketball. We're getting ready to wrap up the regular season. We're getting into districts for the guys. Girls are already in districts, getting ready for state pretty much as they wrap up their district tournament here. Just so much going on. The most exciting part of the basketball season in the state of Idaho. But we've got some stuff to talk about today in regards to seedings, what teams are getting in, and everything in between. So starting in 5A boys, we're going to start with this. We got to talk about seeding for districts, okay? And who's going to be making what? We already have talked about Owyhee, Eagle being like the two top teams, not only in the power rankings, but obviously the standings. And then what happens after that? And this has been a conversation we've been trying to have as a group of what happens with the rest of the seeding going into the district tournament. So I'm going to start with AJ, and then we'll let Ty talk as well about what the predictions are for this. But can we educate the listeners on the seedings and what's going to happen, and then just say what our thoughts are on it?
Yeah, we're going to start disagreeing more than we have so far this year. So it's all love for everybody, just all you viewers. If it gets heated, it's all love. So because we're going to start disagreeing a little bit more than we have. But anyway, so for districts right now, what I'm hearing is even though Owyhee and Eagle both have one loss, obviously the head-to-head goes to Eagle. Even if Eagle loses to Meridian, they're still the 1 seed because of how everything's set up with the different pods and the point structure and whatnot. I won't get too much into that, but how it works is there's 2 pods of 6, just like football. And if you win a game inside your pod against one of the other 5 teams, I believe it's worth 2 points. And then if you win, no, it's 1 point. Then if you win a game outside of your pod, it's worth 2 points, something like that. And so Eagle lost to Meridian, so it was like minus a point, but they beat Owyhee, so it's plus 2 points. And so I'm not going to get into all of it, but Eagle, I think, is going to be the 1 seed, unless they lose both games this week to Rocky and Meridian. Owyhee will be the 2 seed, and then the 3, 4, 5, like we've been talking about, is it's all mixed up because Centennial lost to Bora the other day at Centennial. They aren't locked in at 3. They had an opportunity to, I think, get locked in there. It'll be between them, Mountain View, and Meridian, depending on what happens this week. And then from there, I think Timberline, Rocky, Skyview are going to be the 6, 7, 8. We have to, so we'll figure out the seedings by the end of this week. But here's how it works, and tell me if I'm wrong, fellas. The top 4 teams in the league all get a bye, and then the other 8 teams all play each other. So that 5 seed will play 12, 6, 11, 7, 10, 8, and 9. And then based on who wins those games, whoever the remaining lowest seed is will play the 1 seed, and then so on, verse 2, verse 3, verse 4. And so it's going to be interesting to see who plays who. But I know we're going to have some pretty fun games. Nothing matters once we get to districts. You just got to win or go home at that point. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see who ends up where, but it sounds like Eagle is going to be the outright league champs and get the 1 seed if they can win one of their next 2 games this week.
Totally. Now, real quick before Ty goes, just to echo what AJ was saying for those who are listening, 1 through 4, like you said, get the bye. They're automatically in. 5 through 12, you could technically be the 5th seed in the regular season and not make districts. You could be the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. If you don't win that play-in game, because 5 through 12 have to play a play-in game to get into districts, at which point, like AJ said, it's 1 through 8, seeded up accordingly based on who those seedings are at that point. And then you go 1, 8, 2, 7, 3, 6, 4, 5, just like the NBA does. You know what I mean? So very interesting how districts will work. And that's why it's important. Like you were mentioning Centennial, like who gets that the 3 and 4 seeds, because that's an important piece to get that bye. And then the rest of them have to do a play-in game for districts to get into that final 8-team tournament. So just wanted to reiterate that for everyone. If you guys want to check it out, like the brackets, you can go to sicathletics.org to kind of see the bracket breakdown, but we're also going to create our own stuff for you guys when we get the full breakdown of the teams. Now, Ty, talk about what you're expecting for districts here for the 5A boys.
Yeah, going to be a really crazy week. So AJ touched on Owyhee Eagle being top 2 seeds. Those are pretty much locked in. Where it gets interesting is the 2 through 5. So it's right now Meridian's got 11 wins, Mountain View has 10, Centennial has 9, and this is league wins. Mountain View plays Owyhee tomorrow night, going to be a tough one for them. Meridian plays Eagle. Was that Friday night?
No, tomorrow as well.
Oh, tomorrow as well. Okay. So another tough matchup there, which, I'm picking Owyhee and I'm picking Eagle in those 2 games. Where it gets really interesting is on Thursday night, we have Mountain View versus Centennial.
Ooh.
Right now, Mountain View has a 1-game lead on them. So really, that game could end up determining who is in the 4th spot there. Right now, I'm willing to bet that Meridian is able to lock in the 3 seed, even with 1 loss, if they can pick up a win, which I believe they have a tough one against Timberline Thursday as well. So this week is going to be really interesting. But if Meridian can at least get 1 win, they will lock in the 3 seed. Whereas Centennial and Mountain View, really whoever wins that game Thursday night should determine who the 4th seed should be. Yeah. So that's going to be an interesting one, and you can't discredit what Timberline's done this season too. They keep teams in it, close games, gritty defense. They're doing their thing. But for me, you look, I'm taking a team over Centennial over Timberline. I think, Timberline runs their zone. That's going to benefit a shooting team like Centennial. And I think we already saw Centennial beat Timberline earlier in the year, I think pretty convincingly, if I remember correctly. So I do think that Centennial ends up with a 5 seed personally. But we'll see what happens Thursday night, really.
Going to be an extremely exciting week. So I don't think people realize that, even just like the casual fan just sitting here like, oh, this will break down. No, this week is extremely important for seeding. And like you guys know, like Ty just broke it down, you really want that 3 and 4 seed. We already know the top 2, but you want that 3-4 seed to really get locked in for that district tournament, which at that point, it's going to be super exciting because it's going to come down to matchups, but it's also going to come down to, it's just going to be all out mentality trying to make it to state, which in the SIC, guys, they always make fun of us in Idaho because the SIC, it's basically like, if you're a decent team, you should get into state. That's how the joke's always been. Like, they give us a million chances. You get 4 and maybe a 5th that can get into the state tournament sometimes, depending on like playing games and so forth. So usually you're getting 4 teams in the SIC most of the time. It just really depends on the breakdown, but that's where the district tournament comes in. And I want to talk about state predictions, starting with the SIC. So I'm going to start with Ty. We talked about this. I said, what teams? We talked about the Timberlines, the Mountain Views, the Meridians, the Centennials, like those teams. We already expect, unless something crazy happens, Eagle and Hawaii to make it to state. We would expect them to, just with the dominance that they've both shown this season against the rest of the competition, because there is a pretty big drop off after those two in regards to being able to compete with those top 2 programs. But who else makes it out of those teams? Meridian, Centennial, Mountain View, Timberline, like, and then maybe there's somebody who doesn't upset Central during districts or something, but those teams, who makes it. So Ty, I want to talk about, starting with the SIC, who you think's making it to the state tournament and who gets left out.
Going to be very interesting next couple of weeks, but I think we can lock in Eagle and Hawaii. I think for me, Meridian is too talented, too well coached to not make it. I got the Warriors making it. That 4th spot for the SIC, I'm not gonna discredit what Coach Nettleton has notoriously done, and I'm gonna pick the Mavs as the 4 seed. Where it gets interesting is, do they get a 5th team in? For me, Centennial has continued to just ride this roller coaster. And for me, this is the point in the season where they need to get past that and, find a steady line. And they just simply have not done that. This loss to Bora was brutal. Bora has actually been a very scrappy, underrated team this year, undersized, but they continue to fight. They really should have won their last 5 straight games. 2 tough 2-point losses for them. But Centennial is, to me, they're on the outside looking in. And they're going to need to pull off some big wins to change that. But I'm going to say 4 SIC teams make it this year, and I'm going to go with the Eagle, Hawaii, Meridian, and Mountain View. And then I believe 2 teams from up north, and I'll go Coeur d'Alene and Lake City up north. I know AJ's got a little love for Lewiston, thinks they can win that 3rd game against Coeur d'Alene, but I think the Vikings have continued to win their big games. A couple tough losses to Lake City and Lapway, but all in all, they've taken care of business all season. Where we get to, then we move over to the East. They're able to get 2 in, correct?
Yeah, 2.
Yeah, so I do think that Madison and Rigby both make it. I think those are 2 talented teams that will, whoever gets that 2 seed, I think that they can handle business in the play-in game. They'll have a play-in game, correct? Against an SIC team?
No. I think the top 2 from there go.
Okay, so then lock in Madison, lock in Rigby for me. Yeah. So those would be my 8.
Ooh. What do you got to say, AJ? He shots fired at your boys over at Centennial, but in a respectful way.
Those are my guys too, but even they would tell you that it's been a roller coaster.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I completely agree with Ty all the way around. I'm going, Hawaii, Eagle, Meridian, Mountain View, and then for me, the toughest thing is who's going to get into the play-in game. Is it going to be Timberline? Is it going to be, and that's going to be a tough matchup for anybody, especially in a play-in game. Is it going to be, a team like Centennial? Yeah, I don't know. If you ask me to predict who's going to get the play-in game, I'll give Centennial love and say I think they'll be the play-in team. That's because those are my guys. If it came down to, part of me wants to take Timberline in that, or a team like Bora. Bora's starting to play better. Bora beat Centennial at Centennial. that just makes your heart drop for Centennial. But yeah, I'm going the same as Ty in the SIC. I don't think the SIC team that gets to the play-in game is going to go. I mean, hopefully, I want Centennial at the Idaho Center on the big court. I want those guys to have that experience. But if I'm putting money on it, it's not what I'm putting money on right now. And then up north, I'm taking Lewiston. Lewiston has lost to Coeur d'Alene twice. They had some big games against each other last year. I do like how senior loaded Coeur d'Alene is. Like Ty said, they've been handling business all year. Their losses are to Eagle, and I mean, I remember they smacked BK. They lost to Eagle, they lost to Lapway, they lost to Lake City. Like, those are their losses. Like, those are very good losses.
Those are good quality losses. If you
but I'm taking Lewiston. I don't think Coeur d'Alene beats Lewiston 3 times. If there's I don't know how that works up there. If there's a fourth game that they play, if I think Lewiston will beat them the next time they match up. If they play a fourth time to get to the play-in game, that might be different. I would maybe take Coeur d'Alene in that situation, but I'm going to go Lewiston and Lake City up north coming out, and then Madison and Rigby for sure back east. I don't, unless Rigby's been a little bit up and down. I don't know if a Highland or a Thunder Ridge can pull off the type of upset they'd need to get there. I know it's a double elimination type thing up there. But Rigby's just always got that championship behavior. They're confident, and then of course Madison, I think, is a team that's going to come to state, and if you're not ready to play, they're going to beat you, and they can make a run. They got the guys to make a run too. So I very similar to Ty, except I'm going to take Lewiston instead of Coeur d'Alene. But for the SIC, I'm taking those 4 teams, and
watch out for that Highland team. I mean, they did just beat Rigby this past weekend, so they've got some firepower. They've had some impressive wins, some bad losses, but team to keep an eye on for sure.
Agreed.
It's going to be exciting, and I think not just in the SIC this week, but like Ty said, the next couple of weeks, next week and a half, 2 weeks, are going to be really exciting for all of the teams around the state. Like you just mentioned, like the Highland squad could make a run at it. Up north, who is it? Lewiston? Is it CDA? Who is it? We're trying to figure that all out. A lot of things going on there, as well as obviously here in the SIC, and hopefully those Centennial guys can, prove us wrong and get there. But I think that's one of the areas where we're all pretty much agreeing here, as far as teams to be left out. It would be a shame, honestly, to see Centennial, with as talented of guys that they have. We know their potential because they've shown that throughout the season at times, to not be able to play on the Idaho Center court. And then that would suck, because that's something everybody always looks forward to. It's a thing that you can always remember when you get to play out on that court. It's amazing. It's an opportunity you can't take away from them, but they've got to prove it, and it's going to be a tough one for them in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
I want to
ask you something real quick, Shane, and Ty, actually. If you had to pick one team from the SIC who would bust your bracket, a team that could make some noise, pull an upset, flip the script on things, who do you think it would be? Because for me, it's Skyview. I think Skyview is the type of team that could win a game that nobody expects to win. What do you guys think? Who would be your bracket buster?
For me, it's the Patriots. Absolutely.
Yeah. I was going to say Centennial.
I mean, they're, like Shane just said, way too talented. And I think teams may even, go into their game sleeping on them a little bit just because of what we've seen. And you simply can't do that against those guys, because they will take advantage, and they'll fill it up in a hurry. So that's why I've got them, above a team like Timberline. Just the firepower. I don't, as stout as Timberline is, I just don't see them being able to, keep up that defensive intensity and keeping the game how they want it. You got to look at Meridian too. I know they're, potentially the 3 seed, but that's still, a firepower loaded team that can, fill it up in a hurry and go win some games that, that you might not think that they would.
Speaking of Meridian, they kind of remind me of Centennial at times. I've seen him have some highs, and I've seen him have some really bad lows, like trying to figure their team out and figure their rhythm out. I want to shout out Max William, one of the nastiest Euro steps I've seen the other night, and I didn't get it on camera, nor did Cherry, but he had one of the sickest Euros. And I look up at my boss, who's sitting in the stands. He's there. One of his sons plays for Rocky's JV team, and he looks over at me. He doesn't even move his head. He looks over at me. I'm on the thing. He goes like this, and I was like, "Yeah, that was dirty, dude." Max with a sick Euro, finish it to the bucket. one of the sickest things. But anyway, I just want to shout out Max real quick. But I'm with Ty on this in regards to Centennial. I will say this, like, I could see Meridian, as talented as they are, slipping out and being on the outside looking in, quite honestly, because I've seen them have some very bad games as well. And I hate that. I hate saying that because I love them too. But when they played Centennial, for example, who knows what a matchup might happen in the district tournament that could potentially create an opportunity to go to state. And what if it's Centennial Meridian? I've seen Centennial, that game against them, like Meridian just got shut down and Centennial was hitting, they were running and Meridian could just not get over that hump. It's one of those things. I think Centennial has that opportunity. And then if you can get into state, if you're Centennial, I know everyone says it's anyone's ball game because on that court, it's hard to play. So you never know. Like, you might be playing a much more talented team and they just might not shoot well, and you might catch fire because you have the ability to do so because you got 5 guys on the court that can stroke at any time. Who knows? They could light it up. I think there's a lot of things that can happen there. That's why you've seen super talented teams who just dominate all season. They get to state, that court, that venue, it's hard to adjust to. And sometimes it takes you 3 quarters to do it. And by that time, it's too late. Ask Rocky from a few years back what happened when that was arguably one of the top 30 teams in the country and they lost in the semifinals. I mean, a lot of that's coaching, but that's part of it though. You got to go out there and be able to play. So I think Centennial. I wanted to real quick, when AJ said Thunder Ridge, I wanted to actually say something about former Thunder Ridge guard Lawyer Driggs. If you guys haven't paid attention to his story, it's been quite the uphill battle for him the last year. Going over to Tarleton State. AJ first interviewed Lawyer last year on his Instagram channel and did a Instagram live with him, which was really, really cool. And then I had the opportunity to interview him on the Game Time Guru to learn about his story. And then we've been following him. He was battling with some health issues, some very unexpected health issues, but I want to give a shout out to him now as he's re-signed his offer over there. He's heading down to play basketball after a huge battle. So shout out to Lawyer. Everybody give him some praise because that dude is fighting through a lot more. Like, he's gone through a lot more at his age than most of us go through in our entire lifetime, to be quite honest, with the situations that he had with his father and all the stuff that's happened this last year. It's been absolutely crazy. So want to give Lawyer a shout out because that kid's an absolute stud.
To that point, he's one of the nicest kids that I've gotten a chance to talk to also. So yeah, big shout out to him. Love that you just gave him that recognition because it's well deserved.
Oh yeah, dude. Lawyer's our boy, man. So go do good things, man. You're gonna be awesome. So as we're getting into the end of this season, we're talking about state. I want to do an early prediction, very, very like early. We'll do it again next week, and when we record before state actually happens, when we start to see what's happening. But I want the early state prediction. Who's playing in the championship for 5A SIC, starting with Ty?
Ooh, you're gonna just throw it at me.
Oh huh? Yeah, sorry. I threw it at you, and I don't even know if you were ready. But I'm sorry, man.
No, I don't think anyone's answers are gonna vary too differently here. I think we've talked about it all season. It's the matchup we've all wanted to see. It's the matchup that coaches up north are talking about, coaches here are talking about. I think this season has been destined for Lake City versus Owyhee. I hate to discredit Eagle. I think they might be. I mean, they can easily get there. But like I said, this has seemed like the unwritten storyline that has just kind of been there. And to me, it should be Owyhee versus Lake City.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I want Eagle. I want Eagle to win the state championship. I'm a Mustang fan, at least for the rest of this year. I want this group to win the whole thing, and that's who I'm gonna be pushing for. I think it's gonna be Lake City Owyhee, which it does discredit Eagle. I know Eagle proved it. They beat Owyhee, and they're gonna have to do it again and maybe again. And I think they can, and I hope they do. But Lake City's been there and done that. That loss to Lewiston. Lake City was upset. We haven't talked about that yet, but Lake City was upset by Lewiston. That's their first loss of the year. And I think that's bad for everybody else. I think they did it. I was thinking about this, which is really interesting. Last year, that Meridian team lost 1 game to Rocky. It was around the same time Lake City just lost to Lewiston, their first loss. And we'll see if they can repeat what that Meridian team did last year. But that's the game that everybody wants to see. I think that's the game that it's going to have 6-7 Division I athletes when it's all said and done on the floor, maybe more at the same time. But I'm going Lake City Owyhee, but I want Eagle. But if I had to bet on it, I'm going Lake City Waihe. I don't know whoever gets. We've been talking about this all day, and I was talking to Coach Harrington about it. I've talked to Coach Pickett about it, and Sainer and everybody. Whoever gets the 1 seed is not going to have to deal with the other 2 teams. They're going to have to deal with each other first, probably in the semis if it happens. So if Lake City gets the 1 seed, Eagle and Waihe will play in the semis, and the winner of that will then go play Lake City if that's who gets to the finals. Having to beat a Waihe, Eagle, and Lake City back-to-back days is going to be difficult, in my opinion. So whoever gets the 1 seed is going to be, I think, in a better position potentially. Not that Madison can't beat them if they're the 4 on the other side. They can. Ike Sutton and those boys can go, but I see – sorry, Guru. I think it's going to be – I think Lake City should be the 1 seed, and if Lake City's not the 1 seed, it should be Eagle, because we're hearing that the district tournament is not being taken into account for the state tournament seeding, which makes 0 sense, MaxPreps, 0 sense. So let's say Waihe gets the 1 seed because Lake City just lost, and Waihe goes to the tournament and they're the 1 seed, but they lose to Eagle again in the district tournament, and Eagle is going to be the outright league champs, and if they're the district champs – and they beat Waihe twice, they're not the 1 seed at state. So I don't know how or why we're doing that. I don't know how or why we're doing the pods. I'm not going to go on a tangent about how or why we're doing a lot of things out here, but we need to figure it out, because this is it potentially could be a big factor. I know not a lot of people think that, and you got to beat everybody anyway, and you got to show up and play, and I get all that, but there are factors to it. It does matter. And if we're talking right now at the end of this week, if everybody wins before the district tournament, it should be Lake City should be the 1 seed, Eagle should be the 2 seed, and Waihe should be the 3 seed. I'm hearing that's not what's going to happen. I'm hearing these new rankings are going to come out tomorrow, and they're going to look kind of funny. So we'll talk about that next week if that's what happens. But yeah, I've got Lake City and Waihe in the title game regardless of seeds.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page there. I do think there are some teams that can upset people. I think there's some matchup problems. It's always awkward when, you play, like if it's an Waihe or an Eagle or even a Lake City, and you're not used to playing teams like Madison. You haven't played a team like that, and you end up having to catch them in the state tournament. When you play a team that you haven't played before, it's actually really difficult. All right. And any team who's been there can relate to that. When we made it to state my senior year in high school, we had to play Lewiston our very first game. All we had from them is like 2 games worth of footage that we were trying to figure out in a week's time. And it was like, you can't prepare for that. They had 2 dudes that were just matchup problems for us. And then once you came out there, you're like, oh, they got our whole game plan got shifted around. So like sometimes when you're just not familiar with the team, you can watch all the film in the world. Sometimes that comes out there and they hit you, and it's hard to adjust. So I do see that there are some teams that could upset people, but ultimately I think it's a Waihe and Lake City that's going to match up, and it's going to be a crazy battle. I mean, that's some storylines right there. You've got the first year program all hyped up with Andy Harrington over there trying to win it in 5A with some of their studs that they've got. You got Lake City making the repeat. It would be Blake Buchanan's 3rd straight state championship game he'd play in, 2nd straight with Lake City. Could he get one? Or are they going to be the Buffalo Bills of Idaho State basketball where they keep getting there but can't get over the hump? You know what I mean? Like that same thing. I don't mean to be disrespectful. That's the reality. So there's some storylines that could happen there. I'm looking forward to it. So what's on the docket for this week, guys? Ty, I know you have a packed schedule, but you're covering girls, you're covering the guys, you're going to a jazz game, you're doing a lot of things, but what's on the docket for this week so the listeners can know where they can find what they're going to find from us on the network?
Definitely. I mean, don't forget about College of Idaho basketball and Boise State too. We're going to have some fun. As far as, high school stuff, like we touched on earlier in the show, some really big SIC boys matchups, some really telling games tomorrow night as well as Thursday night with Centennial Mountain View and Timberline Meridian. So some really good games. I know you guys will be here taking care of business. For me, Friday night, I'm really looking forward to this girls district championship between number 1 Timberline and number 2 Boise. Both of these teams showed out in the semifinals. Neither game was really all that close, especially that Timberline game. I think it's Timberline's to lose this Friday night. They have continued to prove they are the top team, I think, probably in the state. They had a tough loss to Coeur d'Alene, but after after talking to some of those Timberline girls, it sounds like they just came out flat that game and had their worst game of the season. And, you know, for some of these powerhouse teams like this, I'll compare it to Lake City, the boys team, to get a loss and get that monkey off your back before districts and before state is so monumentally helpful. It'd be awesome to go have an undefeated perfect season, but you know what? It's better to go, you know, get a loss out of the way and go get a state championship than have that perfect season. So for me, Timberline girls having a loss already under their belt, you know, just gets the monkey off their back. And for me, it's going to be the Sophie Glancy show once again. Lauren McCall, Audrey Taylor. This team is too talented inside and out, guards, posts. Allie Cox down low has just continued to, you know, get better and better, and she's only a sophomore. So this Timberline program has got some really good things going. Boise's going to give them a run. We've seen them do it this season already, but ultimately it's a T-line show, and I think we're going to see that Friday night. But I'll be there for that, and then, you know, boys districts start this Saturday, so it's action packed from, you know, as soon as we get off the show here today, we're gonna, you know, bust out some graphics, get some power rankings out, player of the week. Work never stops.
It never stops. But you guys know where to find us. Okay, we've already said it before, and if you haven't done it already, make sure you're following us on Instagram. We're going to have our footage coming there. Obviously, that will translate over to Facebook as well, but our main following is on Instagram. So be there. Subscribe to the channel. Go follow us on Instagram. Make sure you're there. Check out the graphics that we're going to be posting, all the information that we got coming your way, and the Instagram stories during the games that we'll be at, because that's where you're going to see the highlights and everything. I want to remind everybody real quick, if you aren't already following us on our separate pages, go do so. Show us some support. Boise Sports Talk. Ty's got the best sports coverage in the entire state of Idaho. Not even a question. If you want to know about Boise State athletics from basketball, football, and across the board with all other athletics at Boise State, go follow him, as well as College of Idaho. We can't dismiss them like Ty just caught me a minute ago. Do not miss that. College of Idaho's got some solid programs over there going on right now, and he's got the coverage for it. AJ, did we hit 5,000 followers on EBC?
I did, man.
It
was great. I went and celebrated. Went and got some cup bop.
Oh, Cup Op, dude. I haven't eaten. I got a story. Go.
Do it.
Shout out Cup Op. All right, I'll just say that. So, AJ, go follow him at EBC_media on Instagram. Our boy Cherry, who we just found out is actually a hooper to the max. You got to go follow him at Cherry_films_ on Instagram. I wish I had my Instagram pulled up for their basketball team, but Cherry's got a basketball team that I wish I put on here for the Instagram handle. It's Trey something. Treyway. Yeah, guys, go search Treyway. If I could get that, I'll do it for the next one, but go follow them and their basketball journey. Him and his whole crew got their thing going. And if you guys want to follow me, go to @GameTimeGuru. That's where I'm at. If you guys want to follow my podcast, feel free to do so. We are the Idaho Underground Sports Network. This is gym session. We're getting ramped up, ready for an action-packed week of basketball, so we'll be coming your way. But next week, we'll be breaking down some more stuff. Oh, and AJ's got the whole crew in there with all the drawings, too.
They wanted to be on the show. Sorry. Thanks, guys.
Special appearance. We appreciate it. So for AJ from EBC Media.
Get my cat.
Yeah, where is he, man? We didn't hear him today. Ty from Boise Sports Talk. I'm Shane from the Game Time Guru, and we'll talk to you guys next.